Good afternoon and welcome back to Live Well on the Money, brought to you by Live Well Events. We will begin our final session in just a minute, which is a dreamy breathwork session with the wonderful Richie Bostock, which all of us here at Live Well are super excited about. So get yourselves comfy and get ready to walk away feeling amazing. Without further ado, let's get going. Enjoy.
Hello again, everyone. And now we have our final session, breathing your way through uncertain times with the very lovely Richie Bostock, at the Breath Guy and author of Exhale. In a time where levels of sustained stress are at their highest, changing the way we breathe is the fastest way to regain control over a very frazzled nervous system. In this session, Richie will give you some quick tips on how to use your breath with purpose, and then lead you through an immersive breathwork journey that will leave you floating on air. So I'd love to hand you over to Richie now.
Alrighty, excuse me. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I hope we are all very, very well, and I hope that you can hear me just fine. We are going to have a little bit of a chat first about the breath, and then go into a little bit of a guided breathwork journey. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A or pop them in the chat, and we'll either get to them before we go into the breathwork journey or at the very end. So before we actually get started, I just want to give you an idea of what the breathwork journey is going to look like towards the end. You can do this either seated or lying down. It's kind of up to you. And what I would suggest is that if you can do it lying down, that's a lot more fun. It's a lot more relaxing to be able to just completely let go, whether you're lying on a floor or on the couch or on your bed. Just finding a comfortable place where you can lie is really, really excellent. And I'm going to guide you through a sequence of different breathing flows for about 25 minutes or so. So I want you to just, perhaps while you're listening to this first part, just make sure that you have that ready to go, like a comfortable space, because we're just going to jump straight into it. So as Sam has graciously introduced me, my name is Richie Bostock, also known as the Breath Guy, and that's because I teach people about breathing and how you can use your breath to best optimize your physical, mental, and emotional health. And for many people, that might seem kind of like a strange sentence to say, using my breath to optimize all these things. I mean, don't I just breathe? Like, what's the big deal? Do I actually need to think about my breath? Can it do more for me than just to keep me alive? Well, as it turns out, absolutely. And ancient cultures have understood this for, since time immemorial, and have created various breath practices to be able to use this brilliant tool that we all have within us to be able to affect really positive change and benefit. So I want to share with you right now just a couple of concepts and maybe a couple of techniques around how you can use your breath with purpose, particularly in a time like we are in now, because we are in unprecedented times, really, where levels of uncertainty are probably the highest that in at least our lifetime or our generations, and the nervous system really struggles with uncertainty, because we have this part of our brain that is designed to keep us alive called the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that can imagine, that can try and predict the future, that is rational, and that wants to kind of put everything outside of us, our environment and everything, in order so that we can survive in it. It's the reason why we can do brilliant things like have Zoom calls or build buildings, and separates us from animals is this giant prefrontal cortex that we have. So some people may have heard of something called the ego, and this is a concept really, but if there was a place where this ego would manifest itself and operate from, it would be this part of the brain, this prefrontal cortex. And really the ego is there to help us to survive. It's really its primary objective. And the best way for us to survive is to be able to know everything that's going to happen to us, right? Because if we know everything that's going to happen to us, then it means we can plan accordingly. We're in control. We know that we're going to be safe. Now, in a time like we're in right now, where all our routines, all our social norms, and even ideas of society have been thrown out the window, the ego itself, the survival instinct, is on overdrive going, oh my gosh, what do I have to hold on to? What do I have to be able to predict? Do I know I'm going to be able to survive this? And as a result of that, people's nervous systems are frazzled because this ego mind is saying we need to be in fight or flight all the time. We need to be in this sympathetic branch of our nervous system. We need to be ready to run or to fight or even to freeze, which is one response that many people don't talk about. But we need to be ready because we need to be alive. And this constant stress response, this constant being in fight or flight mode, really does a whole lot of damage to us physically, mentally, and emotionally. And it's my belief that most chronic diseases that you see out there, what would be one of the biggest contributors to those diseases is chronic stress, where you aren't able to down-regulate your nervous system into a place of relaxation and restoration and recovery, right? Some people say, oh, but I can sleep every night, so I must know how to relax. When actually you can still be in your stress response, operating out of the sympathetic nervous system and still fall asleep. It's one of those things you probably commonly hear where people say, I sleep, but I don't feel rested, or I sleep, but I keep waking up during the night, or I can't fall asleep. Like it takes so long for me to fall asleep. These are all symptoms of a nervous system that is on overdrive. And we need to learn to be able to down-regulate that nervous system and bring it back to a place of balance. Now, how do we do that? That seems perhaps like quite a challenging thing to do. It's not like we can open ourselves up and change our nervous system. What have we got that we can actually use to be able to do that? Well, for me, the quickest and easiest way to change and modify and alter how your nervous system is firing is through your breath. Because your breath is so intimately linked to your nervous system that if you start to change your breathing, it can't help but affect how your nervous system is firing. So if you understand what styles or techniques or ways of breathing move your nervous system into relaxation, and which techniques will move your system into a place of activation or stimulation, well, now it's kind of like you're at the driver's seat and you have the gas pedal and you have the brake and you can decide which one you want to apply. It's pretty cool, right? So let me share with you just a couple of tips in this time that we have together. I'm just going to share a couple of tips around how we can use the breath with purpose, particularly in this time. So let's focus it mostly around things like stress, anxiety, worry, these sorts of things. Maybe anger and frustration, I see a lot of people out there who, we have, protesting and, don't feel like the way that we are approaching this pandemic and this moment in time is the right way to do it. And, things can get very, very emotional. And, I certainly believe that we all need to stand up for what we believe is right. But if we can do it from a place where we feel like we are connected to our hearts, that we are compassionate to others, but still standing in our power and speaking out what we believe is right, that is the best way to go about it. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about anger and frustration as well. So stress, how can we use our breath for stress? So usually if I'm doing this in person, I'd throw it out to the room. And I guess we could probably do it because we have a chat box and stuff. But just in the interest of time, because I want to give you as much as possible before we start to breathe together. I might answer some of these questions for you, if you don't mind. So when you feel stressed or anxious, do you notice that your breathing changes in some way? And I'm guessing most of you, if you've ever paid attention, probably would say, yes, my breathing changes. So how does your breathing change? What do you notice? And what you might notice is that your breath becomes a bit more shallow. It becomes a little faster. You might start to breathe through your mouth. You might even hold your breath. You might feel, as you're breathing, some tightness around your shoulders and around your neck and around your chest. These are all very normal symptoms of a breath that is connected to stress. Now, it is actually a very similar breath that you would take when you're exercising, by the way, where you ventilate faster and quicker because your metabolic demands of when you're running or weightlifting or whatever are much higher, so you need to breathe more. That's why you eventually feel like you're breathless or out of breath. But we don't need to breathe this way all the time. All right, it's not useful for us to breathe this way all the time. What we want to be able to do is to be able to learn to breathe what we call diaphragmatically. Okay, diaphragmatically means shifting the breath further down into the lower abdomen, because you have this this big breathing muscle called the diaphragm. It's a muscle that connects to the bottom of your ribs and to your spine, and it's kind of like a dome shape. So it sort of separates your lungs and your heart from the rest of the organs underneath you, underneath. And when you inhale, this diaphragm pushes down gently and expands outwards, kind of like a dinner plate. So it kind of does like that action. And what that looks like from the outside is an expansion through the lower and mid ribs and a gentle expansion through the belly as well. So learning to breathe diaphragmatically is so beneficial because, number one, from a biomechanical standpoint, it is the way we are supposed to breathe all the time. And if you watch a toddler, usually, between the ages of 3 and 6 or so, that's how they breathe naturally, but also it's connected to the relaxation response, the parasympathetic nervous system. There are a lot of key nerves that run through the diaphragm that are part of the parasympathetic nervous system that becomes stimulated when you breathe diaphragmatically. So what we're going to be doing is, as we give you some of these techniques, I want you to think about breathing diaphragmatically. So the easiest way to be able to tell that is take your hands and place them on your lower ribs like this. You see? So they're not too low, they're not up here, they're kind of sitting at the bottom of your ribs. And as you inhale, feel an expansion through your hands. So can you inhale and let your hands expand to the side? You'll feel an expansion out to the front as well. And practice this a few times and just see if that's happening naturally for you or if you need to make it happen. And next, as you take the next inhale, pay attention to your neck and your shoulders. When you inhale, do you feel any tension or contraction through these parts? Some people, when they inhale, will do this. We don't need to do that. These are using secondary breathing muscles in our shoulders, in our upper back, upper chest, and in our neck that we can use when we are exercising, when the stress response is warranted, but generally we don't need to use these at rest. But because people are quite often in a chronic state of stress, they just learn and remember how to breathe this way all the time. So when we do these couple of techniques now, I want you to just make sure that you are breathing diaphragmatically. And we just have a few questions that have come through. Let's save them for the end, I think. I just want to share these few techniques with you. We'll breathe, and then I'll answer some questions for you because there's some good ones in there. So the first technique I would like to share is something called coherence breath or coherence breathing. And how coherence breathing works is slowing down the breath to 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out through the nose, breathing into the diaphragm, nice and gently. It's so simple. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out through the nose, breathing using that diaphragmatic breath. This was studied out of a university in the States where they took 500 people and tried to work out what was the ideal cadence of breath to increase something called heart rate variability. And just very quickly, if you don't know what HRV is, it's basically a measure of how flexible and robust your nervous system is. And generally people who are have a calmer demeanor have a more robust nervous system, and their HRV will be slightly higher. And what they found was this 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out is the best way to create that balance, to create that flexibility through your nervous system. So do this for 3 minutes minimum. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out through the nose, keeping that breath in the diaphragm. Whenever you're feeling stressed, and you'll feel a massive change. If you can do it for 5 minutes, if you can do it for longer, fantastic. But that is such a simple place to start. So anytime you're feeling stressed, try that coherence breathing. We talked a bit about anger and frustration. This is also good for stress as well. Now, some of you will kind of know this technique already, even though you don't know, if that makes sense. But you probably do it quite a bit. It's called a sigh of relief. When we sigh, and this has been measured, by the way, they've done some research around this, it very much acts as a real emotional, mental, and physical reset for the body. Because when we get in a certain state, whether it's very, very stressed or not even necessarily stressed, but when we're in a certain state for a while, our breathing pattern becomes regular, and the lungs kind of, what's the best way to explain it, is they kind of get into a pattern of breathing. And the alveoli, the little air sacs in your lungs where the gas diffusion happens, they kind of become a bit stagnant in a way. And when you do a sigh of relief, it's a deep breath in. If you think about a sigh, most people think about it as a exhale. They think about the sound, when actually the definition of a sigh is an inhale that is twice as big as normal. So if you think about any time you do sigh, it's always a deep breath in first, and then there's the and what you're doing is stretching out the lining in your lungs, creating that extra space between the alveoli, and it's that sensation that gives you that relief, that feeling of this feels good, you know. So what you can do anytime you're feeling stressed or anxious or angry or frustrated is to do a little sighing meditation. How fun is that? Where you purposefully sigh over and over and over again, maybe 10 times, 20 times, do it for 10 minutes. So through the nose, nice long inhale in, and through the mouth, just and what I like to do when I do this is to exaggerate it. So I like to get the whole body involved. So when I inhale, I kind of bring my shoulders up, and then on the exhale, I just drop it down. So you know, just have that kind of dropping feeling, that letting go feeling, and do that, 10 times in a row. And it's a beautiful, beautiful practice that I use all the time. So hopefully those two techniques, although so simple, will be very useful for you, because even though they're simple and easy to do, they're so powerful. And that's the greatest thing about the breath and breath work, is that it is so simple. It's just breathing, but it can have massive effects. I remember the first time I ever did breath work, and just remembering that moment of, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I feel this way just by breathing, so yeah. All right, guys, so let's do a little bit. Actually, let me just answer these questions real quick. I'll just go through them kind of quickly, and then we'll go through the breath. What time of day is best for doing breath work? Does it matter? It really depends on what you're doing. If you're doing an energizing style of breath work, then perhaps first thing in the morning is the best. If you're doing a very relaxing or meditative style of breath work, maybe towards the end of the day or just before bed. So it really depends. So I have a breathing pattern disorder, and I get dizzy, chest feels tight, mouth breathe, and lightly tingle. Yeah. So that's chronic hyperventilation, right? So you're chronically hypercapnic. So practicing that coherence breathing will be a really, really good practice for you to do, because it's slowing down the breath, rebalancing those blood gas levels. How long does a practice need to be? Sometimes I only have 5 to 10 minutes in a work break. Well, like I said, that coherence breathing, 3 minutes, and you'll feel something significantly different. There's some techniques that take 30 seconds. So really there's no definite answer. It really depends on what you're doing. When my book Exhale, most of the techniques in there are less than 5 minutes. Is it better to lie right or left side when going to sleep in bed at night? I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a yogic idea around that, but I'm not entirely sure. So after some illness, I've been advised to take some time off, and in order for my parasympathetic nervous system to start working again. Beautiful. I mean, absolutely. And ideally, even if we don't have an illness, it's important to be able to take time off every day, to be able to move ourselves into that place of recovery, rest and recovery. So that technique, that 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, is beautiful. You know, the other thing as well is if you can find some nice music, for example, to breathe to, that can be really beautiful for your nervous system. On my app, Flourish, I have a bunch of free stuff on there that is designed for parasympathetic activation. So you could also check that out. I have holes in my diaphragm through thoracic endometriosis. So it's hard to get the breathing balance right. I'm really going to breathe. I've been told to avoid deep breathing. How do I start? Well, it's a very specific thing, Lindsay. But I think with any physical trauma, there needs to be an element of healing around that. And it is important to take it slow, for sure. You know, not meaning to kind of plug my book or anything, but in my book, there is a 21-day breathing program to help you to learn to breathe correctly. And it has a whole host of different exercises and stretches bespoke to you. And I think that could be really useful because if you do some assessments first to see where your breath is at. And based off that, you get assigned certain exercises to do. So when you have a specific thing, like holes in your diaphragm, or some people have some atrophy in their diaphragm, that program is useful for you, so because it's kind of a special case. All right. This might go for an extra 5 minutes. So Sam or Team Live Well, let me know if that's going to be a problem. But I think this is the last session of the day, isn't it? So we can probably go 5 minutes over, right? And I hope that's okay with you guys. You just had some brilliant questions, and I like to talk. So we're just going to go a few minutes over. So we're going to do a little bit of a breathwork session now. And again, we're going to lie down and we're going to breathe. And there's really only one technique that I want you to be able to do, and it's something called bow breathing. Those of you who breathe with me know it back to front because I always use it. But this journey, or this style of breath, it's a stimulating breath, okay? So this isn't necessarily relaxing. It's about creating energy. But what is so interesting is that by the end of this journey, you're going to feel energized, but you're not going to feel like that jittery feeling, perhaps when you have too much coffee or caffeine, right? It's a very peaceful, calm, grounded energy, just feeling really good, okay? So the bow breath looks a little bit something like this. I call it bow breathing because I want you to imagine an archer. So an archer has a bow and arrow. When they want to load up the bow and arrow, they pull back on the string using their muscle strength and energy to draw that string back. And when they want to fire the arrow, they just release the string. It flies away. They don't need to do anything. It just happens for them. And this is a metaphor for the breath. So on the inhale, this is about pulling that string back, taking a deeper breath than you usually would. So using your muscles, using your energy to breathe in a little deeper. Then on the exhale, this is the letting go of the string, where you don't need to do anything. You just let that string fly away. It just happens by itself. Super duper easy, right? So on the inhale, you are going to breathe in through your nose or your mouth. It's up to you. The nose is a bit more soothing. The mouth is a bit more activating. Exhale always through the mouth. And it will look something like this. Deep breath in, relax out. So we're not going and like blowing the air out, just a deep breath in, relax out. And that's really it. This is suitable for everybody, this journey that we're going to take. This is a great opportunity to also to practice your diaphragmatic breathing. So when you're lying down, again, placing your hands just on the bottom of your ribs. And when you breathe, breathe into those hands. So hopefully that sounds good. So guys, lie down and get comfortable. And what I'm going to do is play a little bit of music in the background as well. If you have any issues with hearing my instruction or anything, just quickly let me know in the chat. But hopefully we'll be all good. Alrighty. So when you are ready, you can close your eyes. And as you lie there, eyes are closed. Maybe place your hands on the bottom of your ribs and start to breathe a little more deeply into those hands. Just practicing this belly breath, this diaphragmatic breathing, getting used to it because we will continue to use it for the rest of our little journey. And in a moment now, we will begin with our bow breathing, which, as you'll remember, is an inhale through the nose or the mouth. It's up to you. Always exhaling through the mouth. So I invite you now to exhale out, and let's do this together. Nice deep breath in, relax out. Deep breath in, relax out. Deep breath in, relax out. Deep breath in, relax out, and keep that going now. So seeing if you can stay at that pace, just doing your best. By breathing a little deeper than normal and a little faster than normal, we are making some real changes in what's happening inside of us. Starting to activate and excite the nervous system. Starting to change the balance of gases in our blood. And as we make these changes, we might start to feel certain sensation. So you might start to feel some lightheadedness or some spaciness, maybe even some tingling or buzzing through the body. Whatever it is that you might feel, just know that it is perfectly safe. that 1,000 people before you have done the exact same breathing techniques, and they've all lived to tell the tale. So, if you feel any of these physical sensations, just see if you can relax into them. Just soften your body, and with every exhale, see if you can relax a little more. Nice deep breaths in, relaxing out. You're doing so well. Last few breaths now, so really make them count. And now finishing the next breath you are on, exhale out. Take a complete breath in, fill up those lungs all the way up. Exhale, relax out, and hold your breath. Holding your breath here for just a few moments. And soon we will breathe again. And what we're going to do is take a nice, long, slow inhale through the nose for a count of 6 seconds. So here we go in 3, 2, 1. Through the nose, in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold the breath. Lungs are somewhat full this time. And exhale out, relax. Very well done. And so now we're going to go back into our bow breath once more. So I invite you now to exhale out, and inhaling through the nose or the mouth. Let's begin together. Nice deep breath in, relax out. 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 Deep breath in, relax out, and keep that going now. Finding a pace that feels good for you, but it should feel like you're doing something, that you're making something happen, that you are moving this breath. So keep that flowing now. You are doing so well. And again, whatever it is that you might feel, any lightheadedness or spaciness, any tingling sensation, whatever it is that you might be feeling, just relax into it, knowing it is safe. It is safe to breathe. So keep flowing with that breath. I am safe. Finishing the next breath you are on now. Exhale out. Take a complete breath in. Fill up those lungs all the way up. Relax out. Exhale and hold your breath. Holding your breath here for just a few moments. And soon we will breathe again. Once more, inhaling slowly through our nose for a count of 6. In 3, 2, 1, through the nose. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold the breath in. Lungs are full. Hold in that breath. Keep on holding. And exhale, relax out. Very well done. We will go into our bow breathing one final time. So I invite you now to exhale out and let's move together as one big family. Nice deep breath in, relax out. 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 Deep breath in, relax out, and keep that breath flowing now. Staying with that breath, moving that breath with your will, with your intention, with your effort, making stuff happen. That inhale is you making it happen. And the exhale is the surrender. The exhale is the letting go. The exhale is the not trying to control anything in my life. I just surrender to all that is. So can you surrender? Let go. Fall away with every exhale. Inhale, make it happen. Exhale, let it go. And keep it moving. Full breaths in, relaxing out. Full breath in, relax out. Full breath in, relax out, and find your rhythm. Find your energy. Find your will and stay with it. Finishing the next breath you're on, exhale out. And now take a full breath in, fill up those lungs all the way up. Hold the breath in, lungs are full, hold in that breath. Keep on holding. Lungs are full, hold it in. And exhale, relax out. Really great job. And so now let's just breathe through our nose gently, slowly and easily, but purposefully. And as you breathe in this way, I invite you to place both your hands over your heart or your heart space. And as you breathe, imagine that you are breathing in and out through your heart. So, see the breath on the inhale come from outside your hands, through your hands and into your heart. And on the exhale, see it moving from your heart through your hands and back out to the world. And breathe into this space. And as you breathe in this way, think of somebody that needs some love or needs some healing, or that you would like to share it with. Because your heart is a healing energy. So imagine sending that energy on your exhale through your hands to somebody you love, giving them healing, beautiful, holding, the love, the care that you can share with them. And now, I invite you to finish the next breath you're on, exhale out. And in a moment, we're going to inhale through our hearts and fill up our entire bodies and spread that beautiful healing energy on every single part of us. So through the nose, long inhale in all the way up, 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 up. Hold the breath in, lungs are full, and allow your body to soak up all the nourishment, all the healing, all of that beautiful energy. Hold it and exhale, relax out. Very well done. And now you can just relax completely. Let the breath come and go as it pleases. And let your body rest. Slowly bringing your awareness to a whole new body, to a whole new mind, and to a whole new beginning for you. Maybe bringing a little life into the body, wiggling the fingers and toes, making sure they're all still there. Maybe having a little stretch to extend yourself and start to bring a little more movement into the body. Doing whatever feels good for you to feel more grounded back in the here and now, taking any movement, any position, any pose, coming back to the room completely and back to yourself. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Slowly coming back and remembering that you have a whole Sunday to live. Sometimes it's nice to just stay in that place, but sometimes we need to get out there in the world or in your home or flat while we're still locked down. But soon back into the world. Well, beautiful people, if you still feel a little bit spacey or buzzy, just know that any of those physical sensations, they disappear over the next little while. But any of the nice, good feeling that you've created for yourself, that stays for the rest of today, into the next week, and for the rest of your life, if you so choose. So if you have any questions or concerns, please do reach out to me. Probably on Instagram is the best place. So maybe at the Breath Guy on Instagram. Just shoot me a message there if you have any questions or anything like that. I'm doing another journey tonight, actually, on Instagram, 8 o'clock UK time. So if you've got time, feel free to jump on. I think that kind of wraps it up from me, guys. Thank you so much for joining. And I do hope to see you again soon, and take care of yourselves. And thank you very much to Live Well, as always, for having me here. And it's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thanks so much, Richie. That was a really beautiful session. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm feeling very relaxed right now. And I'm also feeling a little bit emotional, and I don't quite know why. But thank you, Richie. Thank you so much. It was really fantastic.
If anyone does feel a bit emotional, just know that's also very normal. You know, when we breathe in this way, we turn down the volume of our regular chattering mind and start to become a bit more aware of what's happening in the emotional centers of the brain. So if you're feeling emotional and experiencing things like sadness or grief or anger or these kinds of things, it's because there's something there that needs to be illuminated and expressed in some way. But if you're feeling happy and you're feeling, blissed out or dreamy or full of love, and that's because we were breathing into the heart, and that is the center of our love, of our compassion, of our feelings of giving and unity and wholeness. So it makes a lot of sense to also start to feel those emotions. So either way, you're not going crazy.
Good. That's good to know. Brilliant. Thanks so much, Richie. So that's the end of Live Well on the Money. I do hope you enjoyed it and that it will help all of you. If you want to get more advice and inspiration on everything to do with your well-being, then visit www.livewelllondon.com, where you can register for the Live Well London Festival and find out about other upcoming online events. You'll also receive your digital goodie bag via email tomorrow with some handy resources and additional tips. So as Richie said, everybody go off and enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.